and welcome to the first episode of the new era for weekly roundup of my show. As I previously did a weekly roundup show on another channel that must not be named, and now in a new era. As we're going to start off with the predictions for the season ahead. Let's go to the ladder prediction to start off with. And on bottom of the ladder, sorry Tigers fans, I'm going to have to go with you finishing bottom this year. I've seen what happened yesterday in that scratch match against Collingwood. It was a total disaster. 17th, I'm going with North Melbourne. The reason why I got North Melbourne in 17th, is because they're not quite there yet. At least it's better than me picking Essendon to finish 17th last year. 16th, I'm going with... I'm actually going to go with the... probably... Melbourne for that one. They've kind of gone a bit downhill recently. They've lost a lot of players to injury, and they didn't look too impressive in the scratch match against North Melbourne, even though they won by 46 points. 15th, in my ladder prediction, I'm going with Port Adelaide. The reason I got the power in 15th this year is because have you seen them in the scratch match against Adelaide? They're a disaster at the moment. They haven't recovered from that qualifying final loss against Geelong. 14th on the ladder, I'm going to go with the West Coast Eagles. They look promising this pre-season. With another year on his belt for Harley Reid, well, he'll look to stay at West Coast long term if he wants to. As he has just been spotted at Tom Barris's wedding the other week with Sam Mitchell. 13th on the ladder, I'm going with the Western Bulldogs. They've lost a lot of midfield depth. They've lost Jack McRae to the Saints, Caleb Daniels now at the Rose, and they've just lost Bailey Smith to Geelong. I reckon I'm not quite impressed with the Bulldogs in this pre-season, as they didn't do anything against Essendon. 12th on the ladder, I'm going with... I've got to say... maybe St Kilda. The Saints, well, they've done right in this pre-season. Well, and yet I had high hopes on them 12 months ago. I put them 4th last year. But I'm going to go with a much reasonable one this year for the Saints. 11th, I'm going with Carlton. Injuries, loss of form, and not a very good pre-season. It's kind of taken its toll. 10th, I'm going with Geelong. The reason I got Geelong in 10th for this one is because, well, they didn't look too good in the pre-season against Essendon. And for the 9th spot, I'm going with... 9th on the ladder, gotta go with maybe the Dockers, the 9th. Well, they came so close to the finals last year, and that's why there's probably much better teams ahead. And we'll fill the top ladder. I'm gonna go with, I reckon, the Gold Coast Suns. Well, they looked impressive in the pre-season against Collingwood and Brisbane. Could they keep it up against the Sydney Swans? Well, speaking of the Swans, I got them in 7th. That grand final loss against Brisbane has really battered them, and that 112-point loss to Port has done the same. 6, I've got to go with... 6 are going with Essendon. The Butters looked impressive in this pre-season. They played well against the Western Bulldogs, and have you seen them play well against Geelong? 5th on the ladder, I reckon GWS. Even though they've lost a few key players, they should still do alright in 2025. For the top 4, Fourth, I'm going with Adelaide. It's a bold call. I'm going with the Crows in fourth on the ladder. The Crows looked really good in the pre-season against Port Adelaide, and it's not just the fact that I go for the Crows, but I actually liked it in the pre-season against Port Adelaide. But I'm going with the Hawthorn Hock Bowl. Hawthorn, they looked impressive in the finals, but will they not be a one-hit wonder this year? Second, I'm going with, I reckon, Collingwood. The Magpies, I think they're pretty much back. First, I'm going with the Brisbane Lions. The Lions, they still look pretty good even though they're reigning premiers. And that will wrap up the ladder prediction. And next up, we got the grand final prediction. Now for the grand final prediction for this one. For my grand final prediction, I'm going the Brisbane Lions for a third straight year in the GF. This time they versus Hawthorn. Last time Brisbane won by 60 points. But this year in the grand final, I reckon Hawthorn will get up in this one and win their first flag in 10 years by about 1 point. Because considering Brisbane have had a bit of a habit of playing close grand finals recently, like that 4-point loss to Collingwood, for example. Now for the Brownlow prediction. Third place in the Brownlow medal, I'm going with John Newcombe from Hawthorn on 31 votes. Second, I'm going with Paddy Cripps from Carlton, 32 votes. Winning the Brownlow, well, it's obviously going to be Nick Dacos' year. He's come close so many times. I reckon Dacos will win on 35 votes. And now I've got the Rising Star prediction to go to. Third this year in the Rising Star, well, I was going to go with Jagger Smith, but he's done his ACL. Third in the Rising Star, I reckon Dan Curtin's a good shout. He'll have a promising season this year for the Crows. Second, I'm going with Sid Draper for the Rising Star. I reckon Sid Draper will have a really good year for the Crows. But the winner, I'm going with one of the Richmond rookies, Sam Lalor. I reckon he'll win the Rising Star on 50 votes. As I reckon he'll get Richmond more wins than what they did last year. And now we head to the breakout players prediction. For Adelaide, my breakout player I'm going with, although Jake Saliga's doing really good, it's a toss-up between him and Riley Philthorpe. I remember last time when I predicted Riley Philthorpe to break out, he got his knee the next day! Well, I'm going to go with Jake Saliga as the safe bet. He looked really good in the midfield in the pre-season against Port Adelaide. Brisbane Lions, I reckon my breakout player I'm going with is Will Ashcroft. He was a non-stiff medalist last year. Now, I reckon he'll continue on that form this year and try to get Brisbane to go back-to-back. Carlton. My breakout player for the Blues I'm going with is, I reckon Lachie Cowan. He looked promising down back for the Blues. Collingwood, well, I reckon Reece McKinn's the breakout player this year. He looked to make the centre-half back position his own now that Nathan Murphy's retired. And plus, and a few other defenders aren't good enough. I was going to go with Finlay McRae, but he didn't do anything last year. Again, but another contender probably might be Ed Allen. Essendon. My breakout player for them I'm going with is, I reckon, Nate Kenny. He looked promising in the pre-season for the Bombers. He looked sparkling last year up forward. This year, I reckon he'll take his game to another level. Fremantle's breakout player I'm going with, I reckon, I'm thinking maybe might be Neil Erasmus' time to shine. He's been in the system for a few years. He'll need to get some game time under his belt in that Freo team if he wants to take his career further. Geelong. It's got to be Ollie Dempsey. He's been promising for the Cats. Last year, won the Rising Star. I reckon he'll continue on with that performance. Gold Coast Suns. My breakout player for the Suns I'm going with is... I reckon Ned Moyle might be a shout for the Suns. Ned Moyle looked promising in the ruck last year following Jared Witt's absence. And now with Jared Witt getting closer to the end of his career, I reckon Ned Moyle will take that ruck spot. GWS Giants. I reckon my breakout player for them I'm going with is, I reckon Darcy Jones. A few midfielders, Isaac Cummings gone, Harry Perryman's gone. It's now Darcy Jones' time to shine in the midfield as he'll look to take his game to another level. And now for the second half tanks for breakout players. Hawthorn. Last year I had Jack Jennerman be my breakout player for them. This year I've got to go with his partner in crime, Nick Watson. He looked promising in the second half of last year after he finally snapped his inaccuracy streak. Melbourne, oh dear, last year my breakout player for them was horrendous. Jack, and I don't want to mention his name. This year, I'm going to go with someone different. I reckon Carlton Fostrup will be my shout. At least it won't be as bad as last year's pick. North Melbourne, my pick for breakout player for the Roos, Colby McKercher. I had him win the Rising Star last year, but he lost to Ollie Dempsey. He'll look to take his game to another level at the Kangaroos. Port Adelaide. My breakout player choice for the power I'm going with is Logan Evans. Last year I had Lachie Jones, the breakout player, and he's just lost his spot to Logan Evans. Logan, he looked promising in the pre-season for Port Adelaide, and he used to play SANFL football play footy for Hectorville. I reckon he'll keep shining for them. It's going to be a tough choice for breakout player considering they're on a young side. With lots of potential, I reckon my choice for breakout player I'm going with is, I reckon Ben Miller. A reason why I got him for breakout player as well. A lot of his mentors have retired. I reckon the back line spot's pretty much his. St Kilda. My pick for breakout player this year for the Saints, Darcy Wilson. He looked very good last year and came second in the Rising Star. Sydney Swans. Surely Angus Sheldrick will have more game time. That's why I got him for breakout player. Luke Parker's gone, and a few others are gone. If it's not him, I reckon Braden Campbell. West Coast. My choice for breakout player I'm going with is I reckon Elijah Hewitt this year. I picked him last year, but he didn't play. I reckon he'll play this year. Bulldogs. My choice for Bulldogs breakout player I'm going with is, I reckon, Riley West. He could play more midfield. Now that Jack McRae and Kate Barney-Smith have all left, and now after all that, let's take a look at one big bold prediction. Well, I reckon this could be the year we could potentially see more podcast specials coming to Chargab, and a gather round special coming up around the city in Norwood and maybe the Barossa in 2 months. And now, as we end this prediction being right, and now we're going to go with the opening round, and that's the end of this scene. Sydney versus Hawthorn at the SCG. almost the prelim final rematch last year. If only Hawthorn had got that, only Jack Ginnivan kicked that goal, or James Sicily kicked that goal to beat Port Adelaide. My pick for this match is, I reckon the Slugs will get up by a point. Best on ground for Sydney. I'm going with the midfield trio of Isaac Heaney, Errol Gordon, Chad Warner, and I reckon Brody Grundy in the ruck. Hawthorn, Will Day, Tom Barras on debut for his new club, and James Sicily. GWS versus Collingwood at Edgy Stadium. As for this, to start off this one, I'm gonna have to. Well, we're gonna crack on the DeLorean. We're going back to May 13, 2017. As it was a close one that night between GWS and Collingwood. Here we go. Let's go to the scores and results on the lead. Here we are. It's May 13, 2017. What a game! GWS versus Collingwood. Jeremy Cameron, 6 goals. Hopefully he'll stay at GWS for a long time. GWS really need him. Josh Kelly, 36 possessions and a goal. Well, hopefully he can keep playing like this for a long time to come. He's still in his prime. As for, Jonathan Patton kicked 2 goals. I hope he stays injury free. Rory Lobb with 2 goals and 9 hit-outs. Hopefully GWS keep him. As for Collingwood, Jared Blair and Braden Maynard kicked 2 goals each. 3 goals to Jamie Elliott and Steele Sidebottom. Alex Fasola was quiet. And what a goal from Stevie Johnson. He's won the game for GWS like he's done so many times in his career when he was at Geelong. What a game of footy that was. And now, we're headed back to the present day, March 2025. And I got the same margin again in this one, GWS by 3 points. Best on ground, I'm going with Josh Kelly, just like in 2017. Jesse Hogan up forward, he's just become Jeremy Cameron's replacement. And in the ruck, Kieran Briggs. Collingwood, I reckon, Dacos squared, and Harry Perryman on his debut for his new club. And that will wrap up the episode as we get the round one coming up soon, as we're going to be featuring our first guest of the season in that episode, Mr. Cardman 22.